Yo guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about Dandadan. This is going to be episode 5 of the 3-volume rule. Originally, I think a while ago I said that I wasn't going to bother doing a Dandadan video for the 3-volume rule, but I changed my mind just because I wanted an excuse to talk about Dandadan again without having to wait a while. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. I won't beat around the bush too much. I'll start by saying if you do go on to enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, because I would greatly appreciate it. And also be sure to join my official Discord server down in the description below. Join us nerds, talk about some cool stuff, and yeah, let's get right into the video. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with what the 3-volume rule is, I'll go ahead and explain it. Basically, there's a common practice in manga collecting and reading community, which is you give a series 3 volumes, first 3 volumes, to see how you like it before making your final decision of whether or not to drop it. And so there's a lot of times where if you just read a volume and you really don't like it, then you can just drop it and yeah. I mean, it's your money going towards the manga, of course. But, you know, it's fair to give it 3 volumes, and if you're still not really hooked, especially if a series isn't terrible, it's just kind of meh, and you're waiting for it to get good, it's usually a common practice to just give it those 3 volumes, and if it still doesn't have you by then it's up to you to make that decision. Do I want to continue or do I want to drop it? This series we're going to be covering today read the first 3 volumes, and I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts. Now, with Dandadan, of course, you guys shouldn't be surprised. The reason why I wasn't going to do one of these videos for Dandadan in the first place is because I kind of made it common knowledge that I absolutely loved it just based on the first volume alone. I did do a review of the first volume all the way back in, I believe, November of last year in 2022, because I believe the first volume came out in English in October, so it was around that time, and the first volume had me hooked, and I'm gonna stick with it. Anyways, that's kind of the reason why I just said that this video is just another excuse for me to talk about this series, because I haven't talked about it since I don't know when. If you guys don't know what Dandadan is, it's a sci-fi horror comedy that focuses on our 2 main characters, Okarun and I forget the main female character's name, but basically the 2 are very much an unlikely pair. Momo is a strong, bold chick, and Okarun is definitely kind of a coward and a shut-in. But the whole plot is that one of them, Momo, believes in spirits and the supernatural, and Okarun believes in aliens, and so they don't believe in each other's belief though. And so what ends up happening in the first volume, this isn't really a spoiler because it's literally the plot, it's basically the prologue of the series, is they challenge each other and they say, okay, well, if you don't believe in aliens, go to this spot where aliens are said to show up, and if you don't believe in ghosts, go to this haunted area. And so the 2 do just that. Okarun goes to this haunted place, and Momo goes to this alien spot, right? And so what ends up happening is Okarun gets possessed by this turbo granny ghost, which I know, if you're not familiar, that sounds insane. It's this very horny, violent grandma who's a ghost, has superpowers. She's super fast, and so she possesses Okarun, and Momo gets abducted and almost raped by aliens that were trying to repopulate or something like that. And she, because they probe her mind and stuff, she unlocks psychic powers from these aliens. And so now the 2 of them, now that they have these new powers, they have to work together and use their new abilities to fight ghosts and demons and aliens and all that kind of stuff. One of the best parts and most engaging parts about this series, though, as you guys could probably tell by me talking about the Turbo Granny, is just how off the wall this is. I mean, the author of Dandadan was actually an assistant to Tatsuki Fujimoto, who of course is the author of Chainsaw Man. And if you're familiar with Chainsaw Man, then you know just how off the wall it can be. Or even if you're a fan of Fire Punch or some of Fujimoto's other works, you know just how insane that man is. And as an assistant to him, you can expect probably much the same. And so yeah, Dandadan fits right in within that same sort of genre of being like pretty dark, but also like just ridiculous and like, I don't know, just insane. Throughout the series though, come like the second volume, there are some developments such as a new character being introduced named Arya, which I'm not going to get into too much there because that does sort of fall into more of the spoiler stuff as we're moving out of what is common knowledge and into the actual plot. But there starts to become a larger cast of characters introduced, all with different sorts of powers, whether that's relating to aliens or the supernatural. And it's just a funny cast, and the character interactions. There's tons of action, fighting monsters and spirits, and the character designs, especially for these creatures, and the landscapes even, it's just insane. Like, the art quality of the artwork is way like more than you would ever think. Fantastic art, and the humor, I mean, it's very funny. It's one of the few manga that have just made me actually laugh out loud. One of the first things that we encounter is that when the Turbo Granny possesses one of our main characters, Okarun, one of the two main characters, his tool disappears. Like, it just pop, gone, poof. Like, and they're trying to get his thing back, which is just hilarious. Like, I may not show it here how funny it is, but because I've seen it a couple times now, I think I read the volume twice actually. It's still funny to think about, but like, if you're just going into it blind for the first time, it's ridiculous. And there's more of that to come as well. And once there's something introduced in the second volume that happens, the main conflict, I guess, it's just funny. In addition to all the supernatural, fight scenes and cool characters and monsters and the really, I guess, like, crude humor, there's also a romantic subplot between our two main characters. They both kind of like each other, but they're not really wanting to admit it, and instead they're very competitive with each other, so that kind of, their competitiveness and boldness sort of gets in the way of their relationship, I guess, but it's there, and that's something I can see the series working towards, especially in Volume 3. We start to see more developments with that as well. The only problem that I have with this series, and it's not even the series' fault, it's that the English release is abysmally slow. I mean, I think it's like not every other month, but every 3 months or something like that. But I mean, we only have 3 volumes out here in English, and in Japan they're up to like 12 or something like that. It's abysmally slow, and I really wish that they would somehow figure out a way to increase the rate in which they produce manga here in English, to sort of give us an edge and catch up to what's going on in Japan, because we are so far behind, and I want nothing more than to just have more Dandadan in my hands. This has got to be one of my all-time favorite series as of late. It's one of my favorite series I read this year. Well, I didn't start it this year. I started it late last year, but continuing on to this year, also with Die Dark and One Piece, which are series that I got into more on the tail end of last year into this year. Dandadan's up there and is in contention for some of my all-time favorites, like I said. So needless to say, this does absolutely pass the 3-volume rule, and I'm going to be getting these volumes as soon as they come out. Dandadan is probably my biggest priority pickup as of late. I mean, normally, Chainsaw Man would be, or Vinland Saga. Vinland Saga, of course, we get like once a year, and we're not getting more Chainsaw Man until October, so there's been a long while for other series to sort of step in and take that priority spot for me, and Dandadan definitely is it. Anyways, that is going to about do it for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy, and like I said at the beginning of the video, if you did, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, because I would greatly appreciate it. And again, please be sure to join my official Discord server down in the description below so we can hang out, talk about some cool nerd stuff. I do want to do a little bit of a shameless plug right here. While I'm talking about my Discord server, we are doing a book club right now for John Gwynn's Shadow of the Gods. So if you're interested in doing some fantasy book clubs, want to jump in on this one or start some in the future, that's also an option. So if you're interested in that, check it out in the description. And yeah, thanks for watching, you all. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.